Yo guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about Blue Protocol Star Resonance. So for us, this is launch day 3, which does mean that we can finally get to level 33, which has some pretty exciting stuff going on. So I wanted to make a video and kind of talk about it, so that way if you're following along with the current launch of the game, you might know about some of these things and how to interact with those systems and items. And then also, if you're watching it in the future, hopefully this will give you an idea about when you can hit in certain checkpoints and different things that you can do to help yourself in the later game. Okay, so take a look at this. So what this is kind of where our characters were all starting. All of them were level 25, and then this character today was able to get to 33. And so because of that, we got to see, so like I said, a bunch of cool stuff that kind of unlocked today and things we got access to. So I wanted to make sure I talk to you guys about min-maxing and kind of making your experience the best that you can, even at this level. Okay, so to start it off, I think it's worth talking about this really quick. So this isn't level specific, but something that I personally need to do even at this level is that I need to go and buy some more gear. As you can see, I have no helmet still, a level 20 armor piece, necklace and bracelet, and a level 10 ring. So there's lots of opportunity here for me to get some gear. But I have been doing my unstable spaces and then also a bunch of the chaotic realm for the goblin lair to get some gear. I just was kind of getting unlucky. So something that I think it would be worth doing, especially at this level, is going over here and we're going to actually dismantle all of the gear that we're not using. So if you did manage to get a piece of gear for another class or something, you might be able to use that. So maybe, keep stuff for, an alternate class. But for me, I'm not actually looking at any of that yet. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to dismantle everything that I'm not equipping. Notice how my equipped gear doesn't actually show up here. And we'll take a look at all the, nice pieces of gear that we're going to get from this afterwards. So as you can see, what we're going to get is some Luno and then some of these shards. Now, these shards are kind of what we're after in this scenario. So we're going to dismantle, and we got 15 shards. So that is helpful. We can go over here now, and we can see that this level 40 gear exchange uses these shards. But wait, that's not all. If you go and actually look in the shop, the store, and then go down here to the colorful store, the honor coin store, if you've been doing your dailies, you'll be able to buy a bunch of stuff from this. And that includes 60 more of these alloy shards. So we're going to go ahead and purchase those, and then we'll go back to this Gear 40 exchange and see how we have 95 now. So this means we can purchase a lot of stuff. Each of these is only 20, and then the weapon is 40. So if you still need the weapon, that is something to keep in mind. However, personally, I actually don't need the weapon. As you can see, I got lucky and got the weapon as a drop. But we do need, like I said, head, armor, a necklace, and left bracelet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and then purchase those things. So head, and then we'll buy the chest, and then the necklace, and the ring. So this will actually get us most of the way there in terms of our gear. And so check out what our ability score goes from. Originally, we were only 2658. And then we're going to go in and we're going to equip all of this new gear that we just bought. And so suddenly we're already up to 3324. So that is quite a bit of additional ability score. And we even could buy an additional piece and then, another one potentially when we get to level 30. So we have more that we can definitely grind and get, but this just allows you to get a bunch of armor to kind of upgrade your ability score. So that way you can do like the new dungeon, because at this point we do have access to Tina's Mind Realm, which is going to be a higher requirement if you want to try and do the queuing system into it. So that's going to be something that you're going to want to focus on as we kind of move forward, and making sure that you're getting as much of the gear here as you can as possible. If you guys have been liking the video, please leave a like down below, comment, if you have a question or you have a discussion about anything. Always happy to reply to those. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Don't forget, if you're watching this right now, it means I'm probably live on Twitch. We're streaming over there quite a lot these days, and I'll be doing a lot more streaming and also videos covering Blue Protocol Star Resonance in the future. Now, we're already at the same area, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about this too. Once you get access to Adventure level 28, you'll have access to the ability to refine your gear. And so if you played other games, that's going to be like honing or other things in those games. And so all you have to do is you can just pick a piece. It's at the, by the way, it's at the reforge and dismantle person. So you can go ahead and just pick a piece like this. And if you have these materials, these ones right here for the helmet and the weapon and the armor, And then these materials for the gauntlets, the boots, and the earrings, and the necklace. And then these materials right here for the ring, bracelet, other bracelet, and then the talisman. These materials, by the way, you get from life skilling, which is part of the reason why I mentioned before that you should be following that guide by Proud. That guide specifically sets you up with the ability to make these different pieces, these different items. But basically, this allows you to hone your slots. And in this game, you don't hone gear, you hone your slots. So you can see my weapon is level 2. If I were to change my weapon will remain level 2. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you change classes either. The point being is that when you go here, you'll have a % chance down here. You guys can't see because of my camera, but you'll see that there is a success chance down here. And then once you hit refine, you'll have, that % chance to succeed and get to the next level. Now, something that's kind of important about this is that different things give you different bonuses. So if we take a look at this, you'll actually see that our weapon here gives me magic refined attack. So this is going to increase my attack power, right? But if we look at the helmet, which takes the same item to refine, it's still this one right here. You'll see that we only get the refined armor and then endurance. Now, these can be important and you'll still want to do these over time. But my point is that you want to look at each piece and see which one's going to give you the most value. Most likely, you'll still want to pick the pieces that give you the damage increase first. So for the first set of material, the mystery metal, we have the weapon. The rest of the items for the mystery metal only give the armor and endurance. And then when it comes to the radiant stone, we have access to the earrings and the necklace that both give you refined magic attack. So notice how I've actually upgraded the weapon, the earrings, and the necklace first rather than working on some of the other pieces. And actually it's the same thing with the ring, with our final material, the fine forge stone, giving me more refined magic attack. And then these bracelets only give me the armor and endurance again. And like I said, eventually I will work on these pieces, but I'm personally targeting the pieces that give me the highest value first, and then I'll work on the other pieces on the side. And something to note too is that down here in the bottom right hand corner, you can see that in 4 more days, I'll be able to refine this to level 4. So this is also time gated as well, but this is again server time gated and not something that you'll be able to control. So if you're doing this on launch, it'll just be the way that it is. But if you're doing it in the future, you'll have more opportunities to come in here and just hone further all at once. And again, make sure that you're picking and crafting the pieces that you need from that guide that I mentioned before. Again, it just shows how to really get it set up. And again, that's Proud's guide on the official Blue Protocol StarResonance Discord under community guides. Check out our previous tips and tricks video if you have questions, and I also mentioned it in some of my other videos as well. So now that we've kind of talked about these different materials, I think it's actually worth noting too that if you go to your guild store, you'll be able to purchase some of them. So let me go ahead and show you that really quick. Okay, so if you go to your guild center up here in the upper left hand corner, you'll have access to 2 vendors. Now this vendor over here on the right is the one we're looking for. It's Chien. She's the grocery administrator. So if you look at the guild store here, you'll see that we have access to a couple of things. So this is something worth mentioning too, is that there's focus potions here that you can buy with your guild tokens. But more importantly, and kind of what we're going for right now in this video, is these guild supply chests. So when you open this, it will give you a random piece of those materials that I mentioned before. And you can buy 80 of these a week. I would definitely recommend doing that and then trying to pick up, some of these other materials as well. But obviously, it won't be quite that easy, and it will depend on how many of these guild tokens you have. So do what you can and try and get them, but this is definitely going to be a source of income for these materials if you need them and you're struggling to craft them or buy them from the auction house, which is also an option for you, especially if you're going to be spending. You can buy these materials directly from the auction house. And then if you want to make some money, you could actually look at selling early on. That's not a terrible idea if you want to. If you actually go and refine your gear, you're not actually going to get a lot of combat rating out of it, but it is something you're going to want to work on long term and will be probably expensive now and later too. Keep that in mind as you kind of build your future plans. Another thing I want to mention is make sure at this point we're kind of in the mid game here, and I do want to mention that you should be trying to keep up with your talent training here. So anytime you talk to Irona, she'll probably give you a new set of quests, and if you did talk to her already, she should give you basically a continuation quest that says like, you know, once you get to a certain point, you have to upgrade your level some more or whatever. But currently, as you can see, I have to go kill 50 of these Arcano crabs to get additional talent points. And this is going to be something that's kind of staying with you in the long term. And as you progress, you'll be doing more of these same quests. It's always called talent training. And once you pick it up from Irona, you'll actually have it in your log anytime you need to look at it. But this is going to be a big source of talent points for you at this point. I do believe it's roughly 6 talent points at this current stage in the game. As you continue leveling, you're going to continue to add more and more of these over time, so that way you can fill out the rest of your talent tree. And also that kind of brings us to the other thing, is that part of keeping up with your talent tree is actually going to be going up here and continuing with your trial. So if we teleport to this center building in the central district, we have our trial path administrator that I had mentioned in our previous video, but every day we seem to be getting more and more of these unlocked. So make sure that you're checking out which of these are available for you in your current stage of the game, and then also continuing to progress them. At this point, we have all the way open to level 9. And then if you go down here and look at the rewards, you see that every 3 that you do, you get 2 additional skill points. So if you're missing some skill points, check this and check Irona for your quest, and that will hopefully give you a lot of the skill points that you might be missing. And part of the reason why I wanted to talk about those skill points is because now that we are level 33, if you have gotten there, which by the way, you'll have to do basically all of your daily activities every single day since the start of the game if you're watching this on day 3, and then also go and do a significant portion of the regional side quests that show up at the bottom of your list and give you the most amount of XP. You do need a lot of them in order to get to 33. I did have to spend several hours at the very start of this morning to get there, but if you are there and it is, like I said, day 3, you actually will get enough talent points after doing the other things that I mentioned to actually unlock your specialization tree. And this is going to be really important because a lot of our classes are balanced with this kind of in mind. And you'll get a lot of your power. Your class will change the way that it plays and how it generates things, or how it does damage, or how it heals, or whatever. And so it's pretty significant when you actually come in here and do this stuff. And then when you do pick it, double check that you are leveled up in your ability, because what happens when you pick your specialization, your special ability then changes, and you do need to level the special ability up and make sure that you're keeping it leveled, which kind of brings me into our next thing. Is at this point we now have the ability to advance our skills. And I was talking with some of my guildmates yesterday, and someone brought up an interesting point, is that basically if you take a look at your skills, you might see that the first 2 tiers, when you upgrade them, don't really look that impressive. We go from 70% here to 72.8% to 75.6%. But then if we look at level 3, we go from 75.6 to 84. So notice how there's actually a pretty significant jump from tier 2 to tier 3. So if you are running low on these books for your class, it might be good to prioritize one specific skill. Maybe it does a lot of damage, maybe it provides a lot of healing for you. And so this will help you kind of min-max your skills and help you just get the most out of the limited number of books that you might have. It does seem to be that roughly every 3rd one gives you a bigger boost. So if we look here, 86, 89, and then 98, right? Like a 10% boost for the level 6 instead of the level 4 and 5. The same thing kind of was with the level 1, 2, and 3, right? So just something to keep in mind if you're running low on these books, because these books are definitely an end game resource that you're going to be working towards getting. for all of your abilities eventually later on down the line. Shout out to Ebb and Flow in our community Discord that I joined, the Lazy Huntress, for coming up with that idea. I didn't actually look at this beforehand, but when he was talking about it, he was just in Discord just chatting about it, and it seemed like this is a pretty good tip, so I wanted to pass that along to you guys. And something else I want to talk about with you guys too is at this point we are on day 3, but keep in mind for your life skills, if you haven't been doing them, we get 400 points a day, which means we are quickly approaching the limit to the cap on life skill energy if you haven't been using it. So make sure again that you're checking out that guide. Again, it's the early start guide. I'll post the image of the title and stuff like here for you guys, so you can go into the official Blue Protocol Discord and find it there. It's definitely going to be useful, especially if you're trying to get some of this early gear crafting going. Just know that it's not going to help you corner the market or do some unique thing with your crafting guide, right? Just going to help you make the stuff that you need in order to upgrade your characters, which does have a lot of value. But even in our guild, we had some people that were worried about falling behind in terms of their life skill energy, and unless you go 5 days without doing your life skills, you're not going to fall behind. So make sure you do check it out every 5 days and don't overcap on this resource. And again, don't forget to purchase the extra potions that are available in your guild shop if you have the extra tokens. And also don't forget to do the weeklies, because that is actually how you get the biggest amount of experience for each of these life skills. So that will definitely be something you want to put some time and effort into. Another person that's in our community, Pink, they were doing the life skills quest, but it did seem like it would take a little bit of time. Keep that in mind when you're planning your week out, that it may take you a little bit of time to get those weeklies done. Okay, so hopefully this was pretty helpful for you guys and getting you off on the right foot. I did all this stuff and was like, wow, you know, that's actually a pretty big milestone that we just hit with hitting level 33 and kind of getting access to all this stuff on day 3. So I did think it was worth the time and effort for the video. Hopefully you agreed. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, comment if you guys have any questions or have anything that you want to discuss. I'm always happy to talk to you guys about anything. You know, if you have any questions or anything on any of my videos, feel free to add a comment, and I'm more than willing to, you know, clarify any systems that might need help. So if anything's confusing or anything like that, please let me know. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this or other Blue Protocol or Lost Ark or any other MMO contents we may do in the future. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Peace out, guys.